are within the context of a larger world ruled by powerful, insidious forces. The long, collective hatred of blackness, the calculated policing of sexual difference, the intentional ghettoization of urban centers, and the lure of the American dollar are just a few of the strong forces that shaped my senses of self and the way I viewed others. Each chapter is a scene, a snapshot of my life, and an attempt at traversing time in search of the lessons I now know were present. Writing this book has allowed me to look back and recover memories I thought I had lost and recall moments I tried my best to strangle. I return to places I've been many times before. Each return is a dance with memory. It took years before I realized the image in my mama's picture was beautiful. With skin too brown, big lips, and a wide nose, I often turned away from my reflection. As I grew up, there were invisible forces moving about like ghosted hands. A hand would touch my cheek and steer my head and eyes away from the mirror. It was unseen, but felt. It needed to be named. I never knew I was poor, lived in a ghetto, or was looked upon as a number, waiting to be keyed into a statistical formula when playing school on my grandparents' porch in Camden. Riding public transportation from the pothole-lined streets of Camden to my Quaker high school 2 hours away in the posh suburbs didn't terrify me. But the one time I rode home in my white ninth-grade English teacher's car, along with my white middle-class suburban classmates, was dreadful. A hand covered my eyes so I could not sense my confounded classmates' astonishment, my cowering presence, and the tight grip of shame that needed to be named. What strong fist pounded away at my desires and beautiful thoughts of a stranger, a boy, holding me so close that I would feel faintly his own breath? What force stopped my heart from fluttering, my body from perspiring, my internal light from burning? The force was unseen, but felt. I didn't understand then why it had its grip on me, but I know now that it needed to be named. To discover and name what shapes us is to engage in the work of history. I knew writing an honest memoir would require me to tell the truth about my life, which has been full of hostility and splendor. Discovering the difference between what's true and all the lies one comes to believe requires a direct confrontation with the past. Long before I was born, and Camden was made out to be a city full of dilapidated homes, violent drug dealers, crack, and nihilism, bureaucrats and greedy business people enacted racist public policies and brokered shady deals, transforming our home into a city tapped of its resources and hope. Stereotyping black urban cities like Camden as ghetto and the people who live within them as leeches sucking the state dry of its capital are lies forged without a commitment to history. If Camden is a ghetto, it is because some force, comprised of many hands, made it so. That, too, must be named. I'm a black man who has loved and been intimate with men and women, a black man who defies societal norms, a black man who grew up in the age of hip-hop and AIDS, and a black man from the hood. I couldn't write a memoir full of life stories without animating all the invisible and not-so-hidden forces that rendered my blackness criminal, my black manhood vile, my black queerness sinful, and my black city hood. This book is testimony. It is a cultural and political history, bringing to light the life of a black boy maneuvering through a city whose past he never knew. But it is also an emotional history, a search for the many ghosts that haunted my heart and spirit, and whose stealth presences were as palpable as damaging policies and trigger-happy police officers. My thoughts, however, are not the definitive take on blackness, manhood, and sexual politics. How can it be when my path, choices, struggles, triumphs, failures, questions, and answers are my own? My words are my attempt at joining a chorus of voices who have tried their best to narrate the beautiful and messy complexities of race, gender, class, and sexuality as they collide and are expressed in the contemporary United States. This work, then, both is and isn't about me. It's a book I wanted to read because too many books have yet to be written by and about the rich experiences of black people who are forced to survive on the edges of the margins because they choose to love differently, refuse standards of so-called respectability, make less money,